Hi, and welcome to Ruler Mania Monday here on Patten Quilts. Today I'm going to continue with our stone set rulers. I'm working on my long arm again today. We will be producing some videos on the domestic using the same tools, so please stay tuned for that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill in a sashing or a block area using our cobblestone puzzle piece. So I have my stitch regulator on and I'm ready to go. I'm going to simply secure my ruler with minimal pressure and away we go. I'm going to work down, over, up, and back. And now what I want to do is I want to figure a way to get through this ruler so that I can start without breaking my thread. So I'm simply going to work my way down the ruler slightly, and I'm going to work across and down and back, and then I'm going to fill it in with a little tiny triangle shape. When I get to here, I'm going to slide down to in and around that point, lift my ruler, shift, make sure that I have enough space to continue on. And you know what? I'm not really sure that I like that spacing. So I'm going to just tilt my ruler slightly, work down back into this corner. And yeah, I prefer this. So off I go again. I'm going to come up, down, over, back to my starting point, and this time I want my piece to come this way. Now if I want this line across to be absolutely perfect, no problem. I can just take my ruler, shift it, line it up with my foot, and now when I work my way across, I have an absolutely perfect stress-free line. I'm then going to work my way up just until my ruler foot hits that line. I'm going to then shift my ruler, line it up with the stitch that's there, and work my way back. And when I get to this end, I'm simply going to move the ruler out of the way, do my fill in, and this fill in can be anything, tiny little bubbles, micro stipple, anything that you're comfortable with. When I get to here, I'm going to ensure that I'm nice and lined up. I'm going to follow my trail all the way back up into the corner, shift, and go again. What this allows you to do is have absolutely perfect, flawless designs all the way across your border or all the way across your sashing with minimal effort, no marking, and absolute precision. Now, when I get to here or when I get to in and around the end, or I've decided it's all filled in, I have a multitude of different options. The first thing I'm going to do is take my puzzle piece apart. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use the edge of my puzzle piece to come back and fill in that top spacing. So I'm going to line it up with my foot, and I'm simply going to work my way all the way up to my ditch, slide across until my foot lines up with that first line, and now I'm just going to piano key all the way down, touch, all the way back up, and slide, and piano key down, touch, piano key up. Now if I wanted to make sure, or if I was nervous or worried about that ditch line, each time I came back up, I could absolutely move my ruler into position and allow my ruler to keep in that ditch for me. Shift and slide, come down, touch, and up. But I'm going to continue just slowly sliding across. I have my stitch regulator on, so so I can move very slowly and very accurately. Again, rulers are all about precision and accuracy, so slow and steady always wins the race. Now I would just continue on all the way across until that entire section was filled in. And coming back on the other side, all I've done is make my lines much closer together. So I'm still piano keying up and down, I'm still touching that little box, but I'm creating a much more intense texture at the bottom of my block rather than the more open spacing that I have at the top of my block. This allows me to do two things. I now have 3 degrees of texture in my sashing. I have nice open soft puffy spaces. I have a medium degree of texture, and I have a stipple-ish texture. If I'm using colored thread, it will actually change the look of my quilt. If I was just adding texture to my quilt, of course I would try to do all of this with a thin polyester, and then it would just create texture. I might even match up my thread color to that sashing color so that I didn't have such a dramatic stitch line. Okay? Today, of course, I'm using a cotton. I like my thread to sit on top. I like a nice, thick, chunky design that grabs your eye, sort of bites you, as opposed to just having it create texture and design. Now I'm going to move this out of the way, and I'm going to end it here. I'll go back and fill that in later and take some pictures and post them on the site for you. But while I have you today, I would also like to show you my favorite design, which is the circles. So I'm simply I'm using the largest circle on my pocket pebbler. And because I am not attached now, because I've already broken my thread, I can simply lift my foot and place it without having to open my puzzle piece. Today I'm using some tape on each side of my ruler just to secure it in place so that I don't have to apply too much pressure and I don't have to worry about where my fingers fall if I push too hard down on this side of the ruler or I push too far down on this side of the ruler and I actually release or open it up accidentally. So I'm just going to find a spot here on my circle, bear with me, and I'm going to start right there. I'm going to pull my bobbin thread up. I'm going to secure and tack it down. Of course, I'm going to take my threads and simply place them. Let me just use my scissors here. I'm going to place them underneath my ruler so that they don't get in my way. I'm going to make sure that my ruler is as much on that base that's underneath as possible. And now I'm simply going to start creating my circles. Stitch regulator on, and here we go. I'm going to work my way around the circle. Slow and steady wins the race. And when I get to here, I'm simply going to go hop, trace, hop, trace, and hop, slide, stop, and shift. Put my next circle here. And you can choose any design on the inside, whatever you're most comfortable with. I just love these rolling bubbles. I've been using them forever now. They're quick, they're easy, they're accurate. And what it does is it allows me to position my needle so that when I shift that circle and move to the next section, I have very minimal excess thread. So I don't have to go all the way around my circle and build my thread up to move along. We'll show you some other features as we go and some other design concepts and teach you how to move through that circle with a little less stitching or a little more stitching later on in the series. Now I'm finished here, and today what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it at that. Let's pretend that I'm going to leave that sashing exactly the way that it is. I'm going to needle down. I'm going to pull my thread up. I'm hoping that my hands aren't getting in the way here for you. I'm going to snip my threads. Now I can simply lift my foot, shift my ruler out of the way, and that's actually more than enough stitching to secure that sashing in place. Now I could also have left that circle open and simply filled it in with the tiny little straight line work along there as well, just for a slightly different effect. I hope that you have enjoyed our Ruler Mania Monday, and I'll see you back here next week on Sue Patten Quilts with a new Ruler Mania Monday. Thanks for joining us.